Hi, good morning. I want to begin with a story. So there was once a person was walking through a jungle and he saw a group of elephants who were tied up with a small chain to a tree. And this person was wondering why this elephant, when he's so big, can't break that small string and run away. And he kept trying to think, so he finally approached the person who was taking care of the elephants. And he asked them, he said, how come these elephants are not running away? He said, when they are very, very young, we tie them up with the tree with a single, thin rope. And by the time they grow up, they think they cannot move. And sadly, this is what we are doing to our education system. Right from the early years, we start putting a child into what the society expects the child to be rather than developing the child's creativity and his other skills. So my talk is focused on how are skills and why are they so important? When a child passes out of school, does he really know how to save money? Does he know how to deal with failures? No, he doesn't. Because during the school time, all the time, parents as well as teachers, we are focusing on the marks, the grades. We forget about the child who needs a lot of environment friendly things to be able to grow. And his mind starts behaving like the elephant was tied with a small string. So there's a research which was done, which showed that parents who are the other stakeholders in the education system say at least 1,500 times no to a child. So when we talk about the development of a child, the teacher, the parents have to work closely together to be able to bring about that change. Most of the time, in my journey of 30 years, I ask any kid who's in grade 9th or 11th, I ask them, okay, what exactly are you looking forward to? What is your plan? What is your goal? He doesn't know because we have not worked on an important skill in the school, which is goal setting. So we need to reflect what is the kind of education we are trying to provide to the child. We all talk about 21st century skills. And if I was to compare the time when I went to school and today's school, the only thing which has changed are we have swankier boards, we have smart room classes. Has the way of teaching actually changed? Each and every educator really needs to reflect on that. We talk about NEP, it is believing the most important thing which NEP stresses on is the integration of all subjects, whether it is English, math, science, and not. So in real life, we don't live in silos. So why are we not able to integrate all the subjects so that the child is able to relate and understand? We talk about experiential learning. How many teachers go in the classroom and connect what they are teaching to the real life? No, we don't. Let's be honest. So let's come together and try and change the way the education system is moving forward. If I was to compare another thing, when I was in school, I think we didn't call it 21st century skills, but those skills were more prevalent at that time than they are today. We talk about values, another very important aspect of child growing up. Are we really giving them the right values? Or somewhere in the rush of grades and marks, we have forgotten, what is our root, what is our culture, how many kids are aware of from where Hindi originated. We don't. We are teaching them irrelevant things which are not at all applicable. If I was to ask any of you, do you remember the square root of 4? Do you remember any of the formulas which you studied? But what you will remember is the time when teacher engaged you, when you were working with your hands, when you were finding a solution to a problem. Not memorization is not learning. Memorization is going to lead only to be able to pass the exam, and as soon as the exam finishes, the child forgets everything. So it's very important. Another story which I want to tell you, because parent playing an important role in the growth of the child is very important, because as a school, as a teacher, as an educator, you cannot make much of a difference if a parent and you are not on the same level. So there is this little kid who goes to a very small school in a village, and he's having an art class, and the teacher says, let's color. So the child starts coloring. He uses the color of his choice. He's very excited. And it goes on and on for several years. After 5, 6 years, this child's dad gets transferred to a big city and he goes to a big school. And again, there is an art class happening there. So the teacher says, let's draw. The child starts drawing, but the teacher says, no, stop. I'll tell you how to draw. So she draws a flower and she draws the leaves, and the child is wondering why I need to copy it. But he does it. The second thing he wants to do is to color. So when he wants to color, the teacher says, no, I am going to tell you how to color. I'm sure all of you remember in our school days that the flower was always red and the leaves were always green. That's what we believed, I think, till 5, 6 years, till we went out in the real world. So the child draws that, but he's wondering why I cannot choose the color of my own choice. He's there in the school for 4, 5 years. He goes on and, doing whatever the teacher tells him. And after a couple of years, he again goes back to the old village, the old school. Again, there is an art class, and the teacher says, let's draw. And the child says, what? Because he has forgotten to think, to be able to create, because all he now knows is whatever is said to him, he will do it. So as an educator, reflect on this very important line: do you teach or do you educate? Thank you so much.